Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Amonkhet Remastered. This is one of my favorite sets flavor-wise and lore-wise. It is loosely based off of Egyptian mythology, but also very much based off of Bolas. He kind of corrupted the plane to worship his image, get ready for his return, where he's going to go resurrect everybody as a zombie army of his own. So, really cool flavor to this format, and it's got tons of unique mechanics and stuff we'll go through as we proceed through the draft. But for now, for the pack one, pick one, we're not going to try to play an incredibly controlling white deck with Approach of the Second Sun. I mean, obviously a great card in blue-white control in constructed formats, but a very bold play in draft. You're casting a 7-drop and being like, all right, I'm going to win in 7 turns. You can draft around a little with card draw and stuff, but pretty hard as a win condition. Instead, we have just really efficient threats, 2 different uncommons that look great here, but I'm going to go for the Trial of Strength because it has a mechanic in the format that I really enjoy drafting around, which is the Trials and Cartouches. So you can draft a bunch of Trials that do a sorcery style effect when you play them, and then a bunch of Cartouches, which are auras, and whenever you play the Cartouches, you pick up all of your Trials to recast them again later, so you kind of build your own 2-for-1s or 3-for-1s, get a lot of additional value off of them. So I really enjoy drafting around the Trial and Cartouche combos. So I'm going to start with the Trial there and try to do that, which means we can stick to green with Exemplar of Strength here pretty reasonably. And this shows off another one of the mechanics. So we showed off Trials and Cartouches, and here is the -1/-1 counters in the format. So there's a lot of cards that put counters on themselves or put counters onto creatures you control, and then a lot of cards that'll remove those counters over time, like this Exemplar slowly becomes a 4/4 over time, so that's pretty cool. Alternatively, though, the Vizier of the Anointed, while it is off-color, is an incredible value play, and it shows off the Eternalize and Embalm mechanics. This is actually what I think I'll go for. So Eternalize is basically creature flashback. So, well, Embalm is creature flashback, as you can see on Oketra's Attendant. So for 5 mana, you have a 3/3 flyer, but then if it's sitting in your grave, for 5 mana, you exile it and get a 3/3 flying token copy of this. So yeah, it's creature flashback where one time you get to bring it back, but if you have specifically Vizier of the Anointed, you shove your Embalm card in your grave, and then when you activate that ability, you get to draw a card when you do it as well. So this is a pretty massive swing and card advantage. Vizier of the Anointed is actually really good, and it kind of pushes us towards a very Embalm-centric deck where Oketra's Attendant is going to fit super well. So that is the Embalm mechanic there. Creature flashback. Eternalize is the same thing, but if you eternalize a creature, it's a 4/4 instead of whatever it was before. Another mechanic in the format is cycling. As you can see with Vile Manifestation, that's one of the best cycling builds around. It's a very high pick, a very strong card, so that's an option too. But cycling, you've probably all seen it before. It basically just makes your cards more flexible. You have like a big 6-drop that's only good late in the game, but you can cycle it for 1 mana if you have it in your opening hand. Stuff like that. So cycling is just great on everything. There's a cycling land in each color as well. The deserts, those are pretty high picks. But here we're going to stick to our blue with our Vizier of the Anointed and take this Trial of Knowledge. Again, because I really enjoy playing Trials and picking them up with Cartouches. And this is one of the best ones. Alternatively, Consign to Oblivion, also very good. It does tie us to specifically blue-black, though. I think it's pretty much on par with Trial of Knowledge, but Trial of Knowledge doesn't lock us into a specific color. So Consign to Oblivion, this is a really mechanic heavy format. Consign to Oblivion there is another example of an archetype we haven't shown off yet, or mechanic we haven't shown off yet, which is Aftermath. So with those split cards, you cast the first half from your hand, and the second half you can only cast from your grave. So that's what Consign to Oblivion was showing us there. Looks like we're just playing blue, white, and bomb, because this is a ridiculously good start to that archetype. This makes Trial of Knowledge even better as well, where we can just discard something that has an Embalm mechanic anyway, and not even really have to fully discard anything to it. This looks like a really, really good start to blue, white, Embalm, and Eternalize card advantage. So, what have we gone over here mechanics-wise? We went over cycling, Embalm, Eternalize. I don't think we went over Exert yet, but there's no examples of Exert in this pack. We did go over Aftermath, Trials, and Cartouches. I think the only thing we have left to talk about is Exert. Outside of deserts, which is very self-explanatory. It's just, if it says desert, it's a desert. And there's cards that care about sacking deserts, like Sheffet Dunes, which makes sure if you're flooding out, you can just buff the whole board, which is nice. I think we take this over the Camel or the Caravan, which are decent creatures. Floodwaters is good in a cycling deck, but it's a little too expensive on both halves to just run in literally anything. And if we're blue-white, we're going to be Embalm and Eternalize. We're not going to be a cycling synergy deck or anything. Are there any Exerters in this pack? No. Exert's a pretty simple mechanic, though. Basically, it's on a lot of aggressive creatures, where it'll be like a 2-mana 2/2, and it can just attack as a 2-mana 2/2. But if your opponent establishes good blockers in the late game, you can exert it when it attacks, which means that it won't untap in your next turn, but because you exerted it, it's going to give itself like +1/+1 in flying, or +1/+1 in menace, or something like that to help it get through board states. So exert is just, your creature's going to be tired for a turn. It's not going to untap, but it's going to do some big effect. Pick 8, Compulsory Rest seems fine. It's pretty filler removal, but we have no removal yet. Want to make sure we get at least like one decent removal spell per pack. I don't want to be on a 0 removal deck. The best other option here is probably Seeker of Insight. Just good at setting up your draws. Filtering through your deck. You can discard Embalm cards to it and it's decent value. But I'm going to take the Compulsory. Have some filler removal in here. Pick 9, Hieroglyphic Illumination is pretty flexible. 4 mana draw 2 or 1 mana draw 1. Alternatively, we have the Seeker again. Or the Solitary Camel. If we play enough deserts, a 3 mana 3/2 lifelink is pretty good. 3 mana 3/2 no text is pretty bad. There's kind of no in between on it. It's like, do you have enough deserts or not on whether this card is good? Yeah, Seeker or Illumination here. Actually, I think I'll go with Seeker over the Illumination. It's going to give us some filler 2 mana creatures while also filling that role of letting us dig through our deck. Okay, I'm not excited about any of this. But a crab is funny. I'll take a crab. That is a late Desert of the Indomitable. If I were in green, I'd be very happy to just take that here. I don't think Resolve's really good enough to really want to run in the deck anyway, so I'll still take this Desert, but I'm pretty unlikely to get pushed off of blue-white. Pick 12, Gustwalker? This is a fantastic aggressive creature, and we get to show off the Exert mechanic. 2 mana 2/2 on curve, and as soon as your opponent has a good blocker for it, then you just exert it. It's not going to untap next turn, but it is going to jump into the sky and hit for 3 damage instead. So it's a really nice mechanic, and there's some cards in the format that play well with it that'll like untap an attacking creature every turn to get around that. Oh no. So I think we're in a really good position for blue-white Embalm. But we didn't see a lot of great blue late. We got these 2 incredible blue cards early. White we've seen great late, like this Gustwalker incredibly late. These Attendants were decently late. I think we might have to push off of one of these colors because Glorybringer is such an absurd rare. Obviously, if you've played any Constructed, any Standard when this was around, this is an absolute haymaker. That was a ridiculously good card for a long time. 5 mana 4/4 Flying Haste is already great. But if you exert it when it attacks, it deals 4 to a non-dragon creature, so slap your opponent in the face and kill one of your creatures. You don't untap it next turn, but then you get to do it all again two turns from then. So Glorybringer is pretty absurd, and I think it's worth maybe pushing off blue here, because again, we only have 2 really good reasons to be in blue. And we got this Desert really late, which is a fine sign for red to be somewhat open. And obviously the Gustwalker was incredibly late, so white seems more open than blue if we want to run one of these colors and add a Glorybringer to the pile. So I'm thinking Boros Glorybringer is the alternate path, but we don't have to completely pivot off blue just yet if we get great blue-white cards here. However, Failure to Comply is just okay. Honestly, the best blue card here is probably Riverwinder, whereas we've got a really serviceable white card with Gustwalker. Yeah, let's just lock in on white right now, I think, and pick between these 2 colors. We have higher quantity in blue, but we have ridiculous quality in red because we have Glorybringer. So we get to take a Compulsory Rest here so that we still get to delay the decision a little bit. On the secondary color, pick whatever seems to be flowing a little more. Riverwinder and Open Fire both quite good. Compulsory Rest a little weaker than those, but goes in the color that we are definitely playing. All right, well, I mean, this card is very, very good with Vizier of the Anointed, Artuo Ketra's Attendants. It's great with the Trial of Knowledge as well. It's a good card to discard because we can embalm it later. Yeah, I think that is our sign, because there's nothing to just take like a white card here. We have to take a blue or a red card. Aven Windguide is infinitely better than everything else in this pack. I think we're going for blue-white embalm. It looks like, yeah, now an Aven Initiate's a great 2-for-1 play. Tons of mana to embalm it. A lot of the embalm cards are really expensive, but you get a 2-for-1 over time with them, which is what makes it super worth it. All right. Sad day for the Glorybringer fans. But we stick to our start here. And we are blue-white embalm, where Anointer Priest is going to play very well. It's just going to stall the game long enough to get us to those 6 and 7 mana embalm abilities. Just take over the game with those. So, you know, sit there gaining life. Eternalize to have another blocker. I like that better than Eternal of Harsh Truths. It's great if it manages to get through, but it's a 1-3 set. Does not happen that often. Okay, pick 7. Red's certainly open too, with a Magma Spray and an Open Fire, but Unquenchable Thirst is solid blue removal. Keep something tapped down no matter what. And if you have a desert, it's super efficient. You get to tap it and keep it tapped down. Alright, well, I can still take an Eternal. I would play it over a Crab. Although I might still be playing the first Crab just to reach 23 non-land playables. Fan Bearer is actually pretty decent. Keep tapping down whatever you need. Keep your opponent off of their big swings in the late game. Yeah, this looks like a real nice, real synergistic little embalmed deck. We have an Anointer, a Wind Guide, an Initiate, double Attendant, decent embalm count with the Vizier of the Anointed to draw the cards. Could use a few more deserts to make our Sheffet Dunes and our Unquenchable Thirst better. Outside of that, whatever non-land playables we can pick up should be fine. Yeah, another Eternal's okay. Pretty late Oasis Ritualist. That's one of my favorite cards in the format because I really like green-blue ramp nonsense. That is a 4-mana 2/4. You can tap it for a mana of any color, but you can also tap it and exert it to get 2 mana of any one color. So you can ramp up extra early, getting 2 mana out of the one card. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm pretty sure Mighty Leap was the only white card left in that pack that we just got there. So again, more just great signals for white. Okay. Sometimes you open up an on-color mythic rare planeswalker. Jace, Unraveler of Secrets. Now, this wasn't actually in this format initially. They just put it into Arena when they put this format up. This was not in Amonkhet or Hour of Devastation, which this set's actually just shoving 2 different sets together. Initially, you would draft Amonkhet and Hour of Devastation in separate boosters. So Amonkhet, you would draft 3 packs of Amonkhet, and Hour of Devastation would be 2 packs of Hour of Devastation, 1 pack of Amonkhet. But they shoved it all together and put some cards in here that weren't there before, like Jace. This was from some Innistrad set or something. But yeah, I mean, with that spiel out of the way, it's still a mythic rare planeswalker. Right? It doesn't really matter that it's not from Amonkhet Remastered. It's still a good card. Even if it doesn't hit any specific synergy for the deck, it's a big bomb planeswalker, so we'll take it. Pack 3, pick 2. I actually do like Essence Scatter a good chunk in the deck, but the deserts are always improving your deck. You always get to run these over a basic. It's just 100% an improvement of the deck. I mean, Essence Scatter is 100% an improvement here too, though. How badly do I want to up the desert count, make the Unquenchable Thirst better, and I make the dunes better? I kind of badly want to pick up a desert. This might be wrong, but I'm going to take it real early. Ooh, Farm to Market? Oh, versus Glorybound Initiate? What do you do? I imagine we have to take the ridiculously efficient Bomb Rare. A 2-mana 3/1 that exerts to be a 4/4 lifelinking attacker? Like, that's such a ridiculously big attacker that quick. So much damage so early. But Farm to Market's just beautiful for blue-white. It's a removal spell and a draw 2, discard 2 later in the game. Once you're flooding out, just do that, ditch a couple lands for a couple good cards. God, that pack was too good. I hate that they clumped up like that, but Glorybound Initiate is pretty ridiculous. When you think of it that way, that it's a 2-mana creature that attacks as a 4/4 lifelinker, like, yeah, that's pretty insane. That's pretty ridiculous. And now we have Glorybound Initiate, 2 Gustwalkers, and we can take an Oketra's Avenger here. We can get a ridiculously aggressive start that can really, really put pressure on our opponent. So I think I'm going to do that, overtaking the pretty good counterspell. Countervailing Winds, nice in a format that has all the cycling cards. It's also got a little bit of self-mill you can use with it. But you can definitely have a solid graveyard to make that a really good counterspell. Okay, I do have a Trial of Knowledge here, and when I have trials, I do like to have a cartouche or two. So while Riverwinder is pretty dang good, I like having a cartouche to go with my my trial here. This is also very good on all of our 2-mana 2/2s and 2-mana 3/1s and stuff. Just giving them +1/+1 first strike's kind of big. So I'll take the Cartouche of Solidarity. Ooh. Yeah, blue-white is wide open, so we're just going to wheel the blue-white rares. Well, not wheel them, but get them pick 6. Nobody else wants them. Timid's great. Yeah, just a 2-mana 2/2 that embalms later in the game for the most part. But if you have your 1/1 soldier token off Cartouche of Solidarity, you can keep giving that unblockable. And the big synergy that it has is that it gives any of your embalmed creatures +1/+1 and can't be blocked. So you embalm an Aven Windguide from the grave, you embalm an Aven Initiate from the grave, anything like that, and you're sending those in unblockably. It can even buff itself, I'm pretty sure. Yes, so if you embalm it later, then it itself is a creature token, and when it's a creature token, it can target itself and get 3 unblockable damage in every turn. So yeah, Tiamat seems great. Speaking of things that seem great, a cheap Embalmer seems premium here. To discard to Seeker of Insight or Trial of Knowledge, or mill to a Strategic Planning. There is another Desert of the True, but Sacred Cat seems like such a good synergy piece, so I'm gonna take it. It's also one of the cheapest ways for us to get a token on the board, or Temet to give the unblockable to. Binding Mummy's decent. Really good in black-white, but here, anything with Embalm does come back as a zombie. I still think Unquestionable Thirst is probably better for this deck specifically, but it's a good card for sure. Oh, we wheeled Farm to Market! Let's go! And that's why we took the rare, because this looks like a blue-white card, so maybe nobody will take it. White decks can still play it without the blue Aftermath, so that's why I was worried it might not come back, but whew, that's incredible that we got that rare and the Farm to Market out of that pack. Let's go. This deck is awesome. All right, we're on 18 creatures right now, so want to cut a few of those. Anywhere between like 1 or 3. This looks like a decently, averagely aggressive 15 to 17 creature deck, because we've got some really good aggressive early plays, but we also have enough late game Embalm value and stuff to grind out a long game. So I don't think I need to go super, super low on the curve or super, super high on the creature count here. 15 to 17, anywhere there seems fine. And honestly, I think I just drop all the 3-drops and have a weird mana curve just because we did not end up being the kind of deck that wants a bunch of 1/3s and 1/5s and stuff. They just don't really do anything for us. And I guess the Seeker of Insight fits into that category as well. I guess the Eternals are probably the best out of these, between the Seekers and the Ancient Crabs. Just all the random high toughness, low power creatures we have in the deck. Are there any 2-drops I can cut here? Definitely not Anointer Priest because it's got the Embalm mechanic. All these Exert threats are pretty good. I feel like the weakest of the Exert threats, certainly not the rare, probably not the flyers, probably Oketra's Avenger. For not jumping around stuff, it'll just bounce off of them and not die. Yeah, these are potential cuts for us. I think every other creature though looks pretty good. Again, I'm not super high on these Eternals, but should probably have something at 3 mana. And what about our non-creature stuff here? Strategic planning is pretty cute, and in the right deck with a bunch of Embalm and Aftermath cards, it does play really, really well. This is kind of the right deck, but we have some cards that can do similar synergies for us without being just completely dedicated to it, you know? Like we have a draw 3, discard 1 that can give us a bunch of cards in hand and put something in grave. And we have a draw 2, discard 2 where we can ditch some things and get graveyard abilities there. So I think these two are better than planning. Maybe planning could be a drop because we have 2 other cards hitting similar synergies in that way. And then Mighty Leap as well. I don't really think we need the doofy combat trick, especially because we just have a lot of natural flyers in this deck. Attendance, Wind Guide, Initiate, Walker. I accidentally cut the Initiate. We definitely don't want to do that. So we need to cut 5 cards, and I feel like the cards we've set on the right here are the options, the potential cuts. I guess that's 5 cards right there. I do think I need to play 17 lands here because we have some expensive Embalm abilities for the late game. We certainly want to hit every land on curve up to 5. And even when we get there, we have some Mana Flood prevention with Market and just mana sinks in general. And a Desert of the Mindfold and a Sheffet Dunes. If we're hitting too many lands, we can use those for alternative effects. This feels like a 17 land deck. So I guess I'm just dropping these 5. Yeah, seems reasonable. 14 white cards, 12 blue. 9-8 split. Makes sense to me. Yeah, this looks like a really fun, real strong deck, and I am excited to hop back into this format. So without further ado, let's head into the gameplay and see how it does. All right, here we are on the play for game 1, and I do not mind this hand at all. I will snap keep that, and we're just going to get a 2/2 first strike lifelink Sacred Cat. Just going to scratch the actual heck out of our opponent. Cats versus ponies, let's go. Mono black so far. There's a Dune Beetle, so we're just going to keep bouncing off, but every time we do, we're going to gain some life. I could compulsory rest the Dune Beetle to get more damage in here, but I'd rather drop the Gust Walker first. If we miss a land again, I'll probably rest the Dune Beetle. Alright, there's Gust Walker that can jump over the Dune Beetle. If nothing else, get into this guy there. Still mono black from our opponent. Lethal Sting, make the Dune Beetle a 0/3 to kill our Gust Walker. Sure. Can compulsory the Dune Beetle. I can cycle the Attendant because I really need lands here. I think I'm just cycling the Attendant. Looking for mana. We do get 1 free damage in here. The beetle can't spread across and block both creatures. Sweet. Poke for 1. Top deck a land, please. No, alright, this is getting bad. We still have excellent longevity here, where the fact that I'm missing out on being super aggressive, it's honestly a bummer for sure, but in the long run, we'll still be able to grind out very well in a long game, so we can make up for all the lost tempo we've got here for missing all these lands. Definitely want to get rid of the Death Toucher. I I guess I don't need to until I'm actually attacking with the Eternal. I keep gaining 2 a turn, that's just free. But yeah, next turn I can compulsory the Scorpion and then I can send in the whole team. I guess it depends what else they do. They have hit their second color here. Find the white source. Oh, Liliana's Mastery. That is certainly a bomb. 5 mana for 2 3/3s. That's already an excellent deal, and every other zombie in their deck also gets +1/+1. So much for doing anything. Yeah, there's certainly no attacks from here, and we are still failing to find lands, so we're pretty stuck now. At least we've gained a ton of life here, so we're not under too much pressure. I have time still to get back in this game. And if our opponent doesn't have pretty good interaction, which they probably won't if they're blowing that on a cat, then Vizier of the Anointed can really get us back in the game with the amount of card draw it can supply. So we lose Fanbearer and a 1/1 to kill a 3/3 here. 28 life, is that worth it? I'm so stuck on mana, I honestly think it's worth it. I just don't think I'm going to have the extra 2 to sit here stunning things. We're just going to cast Farm next turn. Or Vizier if we hit the mana for Vizier. We're not going to have mana up for Fanbearer for at least like 4 turns, and that's only if I top deck a land like every single turn. So far so bad on that. We find a Riverwinder. I can compulsory the Dune Beetle to draw another card here because I need land pretty bad. I am at 23. I could alternatively compulsory the Scorpion and cycle the Riverwinder. But I'm going to draw the card immediately. Sick. So we are desperate for those lands. Okay, now I can compulsory the Scorpion 2 to stop a little more damage. Yeah, I don't want to cycle Riverwinder anymore because I have the 4 for Vizier. I've got the 3 for Farm. Yep, compulsory that, and then just save Farm for if they play something scarier. Gustwalker. Fine. Oh, they're just going to immediately cash in and gain some life. I'm super fine with that. Compulsory plays pretty poorly against... God, what is it called? Lethal Sting. Because then they just put the -1/-1 counter on a creature that already can't attack or block. So if they sack them all for life gain, it's probably solid. I should not have played Initiate pre-combat. I just got a little impatient. Wow. I'm incredibly surprised we get to draw the card there. But I'm so fine with that. If we had played Initiate post-combat, we'd be attacking in with the Eternal with 4 cards in hand there. And 4 open mana. So our opponent has to consider like, oh, they're going to combat trick and kill my Gustwalker here. But because we tapped out, they knew that they could just block and just take 2 instead of 1. But they didn't choose to do that, which is interesting. Makes me very happy. Okay. I've got the 2/4 to block the 3/3. The 1/1 can just come through. That's fine. I don't have quite the mana to hold up the farm here. But that's fine. These are all great options. I'm just gonna grab King Tut probably every time. It's the scariest card we can reanimate. Alright, their Sacred Cat is a 2/2 lifelink now because it's a zombie. Cool. Hey, Jace. Cool card. But actually... Not that wild right now. Yeah, I want to get a wider board first so that Jace is really protected. I'm just going to draw a card, make a creature every turn off of all this unearth. I should specify off of all this embalm. Unearth would be exiling the creatures the turn I bring them back. They're different mechanics. Cool. Am I holding up a 2-drop? No, but if I top deck a land off this, then I can hold up farm now. Vizier's busted. Vizier's just taken away this game. Easily. We're not even going to have to cast this Jace. Just the core embalm synergies of the deck are already winning pretty handedly. I guess I might as well. Maybe they'll concede and things will go faster. Boop. I think I know what to do. And I can play Jace and hold up farm, but I couldn't play Initiate and hold up farm, so that was another consideration there. Probably just sending a message at this point, we'll see. Yeah. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not quite lethal. Ooh. All right, well, I'm still winning right now. That's good. Finding Mummy. Cool. Yeah, we're still definitely in the lead. Got the farm for the Mummy if they try to kill Jace with it, so I'm not going to bounce it.
I know who I am.
I don't know, I've never met you before. Who are you? Ah, one off from the Riverwinder. It's fine. Dump a bunch of other nonsense out. Cool. It's now a 4/4 first striking Mummy. It's now a dead Mummy. Get a kill here. Yeah, they're not having fun. 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't hit for lethal anyway, so I'm not going to exert anybody. Show me a second board wipe, or you are very dead. No! Second board wipe! I didn't mean it. I was kidding. I'm sorry, opponent. Oh, my market! Can't believe they would just let the Mummy loose in the farmer's market. Criminal activities from our opponent. Could have activated the Dunes to put them to 1, but since it's not lethal anyway, I'd rather save it for an actual lethal Dunes activation. Alright. Well, that was a pretty crazy game. Our opponent double board wiped us, and they killed 3, 4 creatures plus each time, and we were still just firmly in the lead the whole time. It's pretty ridiculous. That was kind of just our deck firing on all cylinders. Well, not really. We were incredibly stuck on mana early, so it took a really long time to get there, but once we had the mana, the deck was really firing on all cylinders, so that was a pretty beautiful showing of the deck overall. Again, the only real thing was the missed mana early in the game. But wow, it made up for it with that late game. That was ridiculous stuff. Beautiful game for us. We are 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, here we are on the play for game number 2. Once again, need lands pretty badly. I think this time I'm just going to cycle Riverwinder immediately. I probably should have done that last time. I don't remember when we drew the Riverwinder, but if it was in like the opener, that was probably a misplay. Keeping the 7-drop with the 2-lander is a bit sketch. Oh god, not again. Not again. Yeah, hit one more mana and Eternal of Harsh Truths can do its thing again and try to draw us into the next lands because we have the compulsory rest to get it through. When they just hold up like one blocker for it, we can be like, haha, I draw a card. Alright, that's the 3rd land, which we are looking for. They gonna cash in the center, get their 2/2 zombie? They sure are. Now I can just fly over that thing if I need to. Black-white from our opponent, that tends to just be a zombie typal deck. It's all about zombies. There's cards that trigger whenever a zombie enters the battlefield. There's cards that +1/+1, all the zombies. So I expect somewhat similar stuff to last game. Yep, there you go. Zombies get +1/+1. Hello, Jace. You're not very helpful right now, because you're too expensive. So what do we do here? I can compulsory rest, but it doesn't shut off the abilities, so it's not even a good way to deal with the Lord. Her deck actually doesn't have good ways to deal with this Lord, because we only have enchantment-based removal. Being a blue-white deck, we can stun it or stop it from attacking or blocking, so the Lord stuff's gonna happen. I guess our only play here really is to just fly over and drop a blocker then. Just stall things out a little bit for now. So we can hit our mana to get to the Vizier and use that to draw a bunch of cards, maybe get to a Jace from there. We'll see. Jace should be pretty great again. There's a lot of tokens in this format. Just bouncing tokens with that minus ability is pretty good. Welcome to my face, zombie friend. Down to 17. Life totals have evened out. There's a Binding Mummy. Tap a creature every time they play a zombie. And importantly, that is also a zombie. Alright, so here's Vizier. I think I need lands desperately enough to Vizier into whatever I can actually bomb, which I think is only the Sacred Cat right now. Since I already played the Anointer Priest. Yeah, this is 5, 6, 7, 5, 5. The only thing I can embalm is Sacred Cat. So the only way to guarantee I get to draw a card next turn, if they don't kill Vizier, is to take Sacred Cat. Is that worth the risk? Of like just top decking a land and then it's terrible. Look, we would have top decked a land. You're so rude, Arena. Don't show me that. I don't need that information. Yeah, I'm gonna play it so safe here. I'm just getting a cat. If they don't kill Vizier, we get to draw a card next turn. And dig for Jace mana. Also give the board Menace, which is pretty threatening. Not a fan of that. Miasmic Mummy? That's super rude. Unquenchable Thirst is a little worse right now because we don't have a desert. And they're both bad removal spells in this matchup, but Thirst is worse, so we'll discard that. Alright, here comes Binding Mummy and the token, and they kind of just get us. We did hit the 5th land, and now I'm so sad because I'm probably playing a Jace bouncing the token and not even playing the cat right now, so a 5-drop Embalmer would have been so much better. I mean, if we can get Anointer Priest to die here, Then we can embalm the Sacred Cat and the Anointer Priest next turn for 5. So that could still be a thing.
We can figure a way out. Think fast.
Alright, we really need them to not play any zombies next turn. Is there a hexproof trick in this format? No, I don't think so. I think there's like preventing damage kind of tricks, indestructible kind of tricks. I don't think there's a hexproof trick out of black-white to get around the bounceability there. That Jeru's Resolve cycling thing, I think that just prevents all the damage that would be dealt to it and untaps it. Menace, force some blocks here, and we pray they don't kill the Vizier, because we need to keep the Jace. If they have the +2/+1 to everybody, this is going to be disgusting. Just wipe our whole board without losing any creatures. Well, no, I guess the Anointer Priest would survive. Because they'd only have 5 power against that 7 toughness on that block. Alright, it's something else. It's something weird. Graveyard Recursion? Wonder and Death picked them both up? Oh, wow. Those blocks went literally as good as possible for us then, or as well as possible. Because now I just have my embalm nonsense and we're really far ahead. They only have a 2/3 on board and they don't even want to attack with it. I'm not even going to pick it up.
I am who I choose to be.
Actually, another land wouldn't be a bad draw there. Got a 4 loyalty Jace, so they can play Binding Mummy, and then if they have another 2-drop zombie, they can play 2... Oh, this is a human. So they need to draw... They need these both to be 2-mana zombies if they want to tap both of these and hit Jace. Otherwise, I can chump. But even if they get through and hit Jace, he's still alive. We scry and draw another card next turn, which should be ridiculous. Alright, no attacks. Scry, draw a card.
I know who I am.
I'm kind of manually keeping myself locked off mana, but again, I really don't mind, because most of these spells I don't even want to spend mana on right now anyway. Like, I don't want to cast any of these 3, regardless. Yeah, just sit here with a Jace, scrying and drawing a card every turn until our Gust Walkers eventually kill them. Absolutely seems like a plan of action here. It's really showing off the power of those Gust Walkers. Incredibly relevant even this late in the game. That actually makes this deck extra sweet too. We're showing off literally every mechanic in the format, I think. We have an Aftermath card, we have Embalm cards, we have cycling cards, we have a Cartouche and a Trial, we have cards that care about deserts and a couple deserts. Rage on into Jace. It's kind of weird Binding Mummy can tap artifacts. I wonder what that's about. There's our farm to market.
Think fast.
Just gonna let Jace be rude again. Drop the fan bearer, hold up a farm. Vizier of Deferment. That's fine. Just flickers it for a turn, it'll be back. Ready to attack next turn. It'll be untapped and everything, ready to exert. It's actually a decent opportunity to cartouche something, so that I could be attacking with whatever I put cartouche on. I just got really lucky that they had Vizier. The fact that they had Vizier made it pretty good that I didn't use cartouche, because if I did, then they would flicker whatever I cartouched. And just kill the +1/+1 first strike forever. Although I guess if I cartouched the Vizier and then they flickered that, I would get its enter the battlefield effect again, and that'd be pretty good. Yeah, cartouche Vizier would have played well. Although I'm going to like the 2/4 body as a blocker here. Okay. Gotta show me something here, or this doesn't do anything. Then if whatever they do looks bad enough, I can farm in response. It is nothing.
I think I know what to do.
I do not know what to do, Jace. Never do. Each compulsory I cast gains them 2 life, so we're not going to find lethal here, but if I double compulsory, I can like draw another card. Kind of feels unnecessary. Just gust walking, really. They're down to 4. During their end step, we get to fan bearer down a creature. And then we untap, we fan bearer down another creature. And we have compulsories to use and a cartouche for extra damage. We may be finding lethal next turn. We even get to bounce a blocker with Jace. But we're in such a great position, just card advantage-wise. We really don't have to go for any big haymaker plays here. That could be weak to removal. Like if I just swing all out in a way that would kill them if they don't have instant speed removal, and then they have instant speed removal, they might just, crack back and kill me. Which would be terrible. Be swinging a super winning game into like the only possible way to lose. So if I attack for exactly 4 and they kill one of those creatures and just don't block. Because they've got 12 power on board. They play one more zombie, the Wayward Servant hits me for 1, and then I die. Oh. Well, this farm should mean that I'm fine. If they use a trick that's going to end up killing me, then I farm. Just farm the Lord of the Accursed, and that's going to reduce the power of the other creatures here. I mean, not that it matters when it's the only creature actually hitting me. Supernatural Stamina, so they get to kill my Eternal of Harsh Truths. Sure, I'll still crack back for 4 here. Because I tap their only blocker. I don't even have to do this, but I will anyway. To tap their only blocker. I have exactly 4 power left on the board. Oh wait, 3. That's why we have a cartouche. 4. Because I'm bad at math, that's why we have a cartouche. Alright. I think that's 2-0. 2 black-white matchups in a row. Pretty long, pretty interesting games. But pretty firm leads because we had a Jace each time. Happens. 2-0, heading into game 3. All right, here we are for game number 3. I think that's 3 for 3 being on the play. It's pretty nice. Some good luck there. It's a great opening hand if we can get to 5 mana. Actually, might have been better to just play the island and cycle the Riverwinder to make it to 5 more consistently here. It's the only way that plays worse is if basically every draw is just lands every turn. But if I don't hit a 3-drop, which I only have 2 in the deck, then we can just cycle Riverwinder turn 3 anyway. So as long as we don't hit one of our eternal thingy-mabobs, then we're golden. And we did not. It's the 3-mana 1/3 with Afflict that lets us draw cards. That's the thing that we could have gotten hosed by and needed all 3 mana this turn. Playing against blue-red. There's Canberra Scrapper for a Menacey card. Good threats. There's land 4. We get to drop down the Vizier this turn and follow it up with some flyers with these Oketra's Attendants ideally. Guess technically if I don't draw land, I don't get to do that. I'm going to take the Sacred Cat again, so that if I miss a land, I play Initiate and Cat, I draw the card I get towards land 5. If they've got Puncturing Blow, they can kill the Vizier, but I think that's the only removal they could have to kill it here. In blue-red. In blue, they could, like, tap it down, but whatever, I still draw the cards. That's the important part. No, they have the Puncturing Blow. Shame. If they want to poke me for 2, I cannot block here. This one exerts for +2 power. If they want to hit a little harder. Okay, well, Sacred Cat still ended up being a perfectly fine pick because we top decked the 1-drop, so we just get to go really wide. Which is kind of scary with Chefette Dunes on board. Because we can +1/+1 the whole board later. And when the board is this wide, that's a lot of extra damage. But obviously we won't want to do that until we've already done all our 5-mana stuff, because we need that land on board right now. Ooh, Deemworthy's very good. It's a removal spell that draws a card. You get to cycle it and still deal 2. Kill our rare Glorybound Initiate there. That's land 5. Let's go. Start dropping attendants. Yeah, I could certainly hit harder if I Fanbearer the Scrapper, but I'm pretty certain I'm just playing the flying threats these next 2 turns. And even if they kill them, if they don't exile them, we just start embalming the flying threats, keeping them coming. 4/4 flyer, we found our Fanbearer target. Can Eternal and Fanbearer here. Poke for 3 this turn, or I can Attendant now and poke for 9 next turn after Fanbearing down the Curator. Yeah, let's do that. Unless they play another flying blocker, then I'd be a little sad. Oof, it's going to be a few turns until we tap that Curator now. Hello, Aven Wind Guide. So they block and kill 1 Oketra's Attendant that I can just embalm later anyway. This might be worth the damage, honestly. Essence Scatter? No. No. No! Thought I was free when we got out of Dominar United, but Essence Scatter remains. I guess they could kill the Gust Walker here if I attack with everybody. Put them to 5. Man. Oh, you know what? You know what I could do, actually? I can do a Chef at Dunes attack. But then I'm farther away from the 6. But then everybody's attacking as a 4/4, which forces trades with the Curator. They might cast Memory here so that I can't get the Wind Guide back and I don't draw the Fan Bearer. Okay, with that cycle, they have locked themselves off of doing Memory. It probably wouldn't play that well anyway, because they'd be tapped out and then I'd have a fresh grip of 7. But it was an option. Lots of deserts over there. Very nice from our opponent. Thorn Moloch, not a flyer, so not a problem. I can get the Chef at Dunes attack, hit them for 8, and kill the Curator here. Or I can play the Fan Bearer. Yeah, I mean, they have to block with Curator. This feels just worth it, straight up. They have to lose Curator. And go to 3, which makes them dead to any of the flyers that are left behind, and one of the flyers will be left behind. This is just the 2-turn kill. All right. The only thing that's not great about this is it makes their memory better, but if they cast memory, then they just die, because they've spent all that mana not to impact the board. But yeah, it's like now they're getting these out of here and these out of here. But they can't memory without dying to the attendant. $16 life here. I believe we just let that in for crackbacks. Unless they have Hour of Devastation. It's better to just take that. Even Initiate. We've got a Desert and Grave for the Unquenchable Thirst, so let's just get there. Go team, go. Just the GG from opponent. That is game 3-0 now. And into game 4. Here we are for game 4, and we cannot stop being on the play. I don't mind it at all. It is certainly helping us out, getting these turn 2 Gust Walkers going. Might have to cycle an attendant here to guarantee land 5, although there's land 4, maybe not. Battlefield Scavenger, hello there. Farm the Scavenger. You know what? No, if I just trade Gustwalker into it, I could save farm for something better later, and that's fine too. We have more than enough late game value to take over without the Gustwalker. Okay, I might farm it for mana efficiency if they do just swing it here. Trial of Strength. Jace is super good against that token. So I'll Jace that token instead of farming it. Yeah, farm the Scavenger, Jace the token. I don't mind it. Don't mind it one bit. Okay, I didn't hit the land, so I will cycle one attendant. If I miss again, probably cycle the other. Well, when I hit a good 2-drop, cycle an attendant or just play a Gust Walker. No, we just play a Gust Walker for sure. Exert here. I don't actually want to trade into the 4-2. Pretty much just because we have a Jace potentially coming up. Yeah, the fact that you can always embalm the attendants from grave is just a really good reason to be able to cycle them super freely. Struggle my Gust Walker. Goodbye, friend. Island? No. Man. Well, might have to thirst to the 4-2. Should be a little sad. Yep. I'm gonna have to thirst the 4-2. Oh wait, Survive shuffles my grave back, doesn't it? No, gods! That's so good here. I kind of had to cycle there. Oh, that's actually kind of filthy. Shut off all of my value. Alright. I need this trial of knowledge to take me back in this one then. Gross. That is a disgusting draw. You're not blue? There they are. There's all of them together. We found our friends. I probably should have just exert attacked there. Like, now I'm forcing them to exert to attack in with the Hooded Brawler, but they were probably going to do that anyway. Alright, Scrapper. Sidewinder Naga. It's quite the board they've got here. This is quite an issue. Jace kind of sucks now. Also. This is a 3-2 and that's it. If I compulsory rest the Scrapper and unquenchable thirst the Hooded Brawler, I can have Gust Walker block the Sidewinder Naga to protect Jace. And then try to just scry and draw into the lead over time. Two 4 bodies pretty good. That can attack past a Gust Walker, poke Jace for 2. Six loyalty, Jace. Yeah. Should have held a blue up because I have a plains in hand, but I don't think it accounts for that. Oh. Nice. Now I can just chump block with Sacred Cat to keep Jace at 6 loyalty if I want. But I don't really mind that much if he goes down to 4 loyalty. As long as he's still on the board to scry and draw a card every turn, we're good. Oh. Lord have mercy. Talked about it when we drafted it. Glorybringer is one of the best draft bombs of all time. There's a couple of those in this format. Glorybringer and Scarab God are the two that are like the literal best draft bombs of any draft format of all time. Good draw was good. Kill the cat? Not the fan bearer?
This one.
It's gotta mean something. That's gotta be... that means something that I'm not catching on right now. They have a different removal spell for the fan bearer. Yeah. Okay, so they were just gonna kill both anyway, so the order didn't matter to them. Alright, I've got a 1-3 to block the 2-4 now.
Think fast.
Okay. It's actually kind of sick with the cat for flying vigilance here. Already got a 2-3 to block the ritualist. I'm just going to poke for 1 extra damage playing the cat here. Yeah, I'm just going to Eternal then. I'll be more mana efficient. We'll just make sure to have this cat out by the time they Glorybringer. But I guess even then, they would just... Glorybringer shoots the Wind Guide, and the cat doesn't have flying anymore. Yeah, so Jace dies no matter what I do then. So it's better to draw the card off of Eternal than it is to scry 1, draw 1 off Jace. Right, because I can bounce Ritualist, force them to spend mana on that, hit them for 3, draw a card, instead of scry 1, draw 1, hit for 2. I don't know, scry 1, draw 1, hit for 2 still sounds a little better, and then if I hit removal for Glorybringer, I can deal with that.
Know what to do.
I've got a Trial of Knowledge on board, that's gotta be worth it. Don't want to put it on Wind Guide because they're just going to kill that with the Glorybringer. Don't need First Strike on a 5/5. I guess I'm just putting it on Eternal. It's just going to keep bouncing off stuff. Because I don't want to spend Sacred Cat mana right now, because if I hit one of my 2 mana removal spells, which I have some, I want to be able to cast it after the trial here. So the only options are Wind Guide or Eternal. Alright, didn't hit the removal, sadly. Dunes is not bad at all, though. Okay, so Glorybringer's going to kill the heck out of the Aven Wind Guide. Eternal's just going to bounce off Ritualist, it doesn't matter. Oh wait, no, it does poke for 2, because of the Afflict ability. But it's not going to draw us the card. So yeah, Glorybringer kills Aven Wind Guide, so that we don't have flying blockers, so that Glorybringer kills Jace. So Glorybringer kills Wind Guide and Jace, but then I still... Oh, I'm surprised I let that through. But then I still get to embalm the Aven Wind Guide and have the lead from there. It's kind of wild. Jace versus Glorybringer is actually... It's kind of close here. But I feel ahead.
Did that just happen?
Okay, there are only flyers tapped for a little while now. So we give the board flying. Get our 2 damage off Eternal as well. Dunes it up pretty big next turn. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9. This is exact lethal next turn. Because they can only block Eternal, and if they block Eternal, they take an extra 2. Oh, with Tebet, it's overkill. Well over lethal. Boom. Well over lethal, just meaning 1 damage over lethal. Guess not quite well over lethal. But Temet was still pretty sick as a draw. Alright, cool. Fought our way through a Glorybringer, but it was off of the back of Jace again. I mean, the general Embalm synergy and just archetype in this format already seems really, really sweet, and I really enjoy that part of this deck, so it does make me a little sad that I can't deny that Jace is like the main way we've won almost every single game. Like, I want to be like, look how awesome the Embalm deck is, but it's so easy to just be like, I mean, you played Jace. What do you expect? Kept playing Jace. Well, they're victories nonetheless. We are 4-0 heading into game number 5. All right, 5 for 5 being on the play with turn 2 Gustwalker. Was that every game? I don't remember if Gustwalker was in the opener every game, but we've been on the play every game. Against Bob the Builder of Decks. Nice. Double Unquenchable Thirst is awkward without our deserts. Ooh, here's my turn 3 play. Cycle an Attendant to get to land 4. There's their desert. And another one. Look at them drafting the deserts highly like you should. Couldn't be me. There's land number 5. So we can play Initiate turn 4 and Bomb Attendant turn 5. Looks beautiful. Ooh. The green-blue ramp build. Very, very fun deck. Oh, they're 5-color? 5-color Oasis Ritualist. Also a very fun deck. There are some really explosive rares that cost like 7 or 8 mana, like Sandworm Convergence. Just says your opponent just can't attack you anymore and you make a 5/5 worm every turn. It's like ridiculous. It might even be bigger than a 5/5. Speaking of ridiculous, the Deem-worthy plus draw a card removal. Pretty good there. Tempted to go card advantage style and just drop an Eternal here. But, well, let's be mana efficient. Can play an Eternal and a removal spell on a later turn when I actually need to cast a removal spell. There's a curse in this format. It's like an 8-mana curse, and it just makes it so all your opponent's creatures are 1/1s with no abilities for the rest of the game. They don't even get enter effects. It's just so doomed. Oh no! I don't have a desert to stop that from exerting and going crazy. That's a big problem. Well, we have acquired big problems. I can Unquenchable Thirst it after it's tapped, I guess, or once they're going to tap it, so that it won't untap in the future, but they will be able to get 1 exert for 2 1/1s out of it. And the 1/1s are lifelinks too? Oh god, yeah, the lifelink's a massive problem. Gonna definitely keep them from dying quickly here. They've got the mana to draw 2 off of Mind and get 2 1/1 lifelinkers here. Cycle a Compelling Argument. This 5-color mill, they got the Compelling Argument and the Rivulet for mill. Struggle. God dang it, Struggle to Survive is so good against our deck. Here it is again. But they actually have an Aftermath card in grave as well right now, so they need to wait till they cast Mind before they struggle. But they'll have the mana to do both. And none of that matters when I'm just going to die to a Pride Sovereign right now, regardless. Well, here's the Thirst so that they only get the 2 1/1 lifelinkers. But the 2 1/1 lifelinkers are still very bad for me. Attack both here. They want me to block with Sacred Cat so they can mind plus survive. Shuffle my cat and my initiate back in. Just take the damage for now and crack back. Huh. That's super suspicious. Is this also instant speed? Survive's not instant speed. So, I mean, they're definitely doing mind, at least, to draw a couple cards. Well, I can't afford to play Initiate, so I mean, my only play is just play a Temet Pass. So I might as well just do that, I guess. I have no tokens on board for him to buff, so we'll do it post-combat. Got 3 up if they have another Supreme Will, but if they have an Essence Scatter, it's going to get me bad. Because they can scatter and then survive. Alright, draw 2. Sick. Temet remains. Another Spring to Mind. Super nice. I guess they're not 5 color. If they were, they would have grabbed a swamp at this point. Getting whatever land they want there. Strategic planning. They got the triple Spring to Mind. That's really good for this archetype. Okay, Temet's actually just really good in my grave, so I'm pretty happy to sack and recast here. During their end step when it's too late for them to shuffle them back in. Dang it, the 7th mana for Initiate arrived. I guess I Initiate instead of Temet then, because that opens me up to, if they don't want to shuffle stuff in because they have cards in their grave too, to flash back. That leaves me open to doing Temet and a removal spell in the same turn, since the removal only costs 2. I still don't have a desert anywhere. Yeah, no desert on board or in grave. For the thirst. Ew. Sweltering Suns. Mind, and then survive, so that I don't just Sacred Cat Temet here. Should put it on lock here. Struggle to Survive is just such a good, like, pre-sideboarded card against an Embalm-oriented deck like this, where it's our graveyard's incredibly important to us. Yeah, that's rough. It's a pretty good draw, though. If I want to draw the card immediately, I need something that embalms for 3 or less, so I need the cat. I think I just take the cat, because they have multiple Struggle to Survives in their deck. It just feels too risky that they just struggle this and survive if I get something bigger. Just gonna draw the card. Well, guess who's back? Ancient Curb. Letting them gain 2 here, but then everybody gets in. Then even if they have a removal spell for Temet, if it doesn't exile him, I've got the 5 up to play him from grave. Wins, sure. Poke for 4. Have your life total. Got 2 cards left. They cycle a Censor. Cycle double Censor. Bob has some bold builds. 4-color control. I really like the 4 or 5 color Spring to Mind, Oasis Ritualist kind of decks. Not used to them being so control oriented with a bunch of counter spells and the board wipe in there. It's a very cool build. 4-color mill control. Definitely not something you see every draft. So they shuffled the Sweltering Suns into, which is kind of an issue. I think I can afford to play around it that much to not just play this Gustwalker. Because they can just save themselves with like a couple one-for-one removal spells if I don't expand this board. I'm going to try to put them in a spot where they need specifically Sweltering Suns to live. Wow. They've milled us like 6 cards and no Embalm. Tragic for our deck. Didn't even get our market either. I guess we've cast some of our Embalm, so some of it's exiled by now. But there's still an Attendant, a Wind Guide, an Anointer Priest, and a Market in there. I guess there's only 4 left. Bring back. 3 of them are exiled and one of them is on board. No, dude. Stop. We would draw the farm to market instead of milling it, wouldn't we? Hello. I thought I already exiled you. I guess not. Oh yeah, they shoveled it back before I could. It's gonna be such a sweet game for our opponent if they do win in the end. That's like going down in the history books game. Like, look at this. Got down to 1 and milled them with my 4-color control. Two cards in hand, but they have another Mind. They're going to play Memory here. We get a Fresh Grip of 7. They have 4 mana to stop Vizier from killing them. Okay, 5 mana to stop Vizier from killing them. Pride Sovereign. I've got the Unquestionable Thirst, or Unquenchable Thirst, to stop that as a blocker. There's the Winds of Rebuke. Alright, so no attacks this turn. So we're going to Thirst the Sovereign here. Have a compulsory rest for later. Cycle this, find an Eternal. They milled my Jace. So rude. 5 mana. What can I mill with Vizier at this point? Oketra's Attendant? Or Anointer Priest? Both of those are too expensive to embalm right now anyway, if I cast Unquenchable Thirst. Why can't I say this right? So let's just go for a wide board, which I guess is playing 2 creatures maximum. We play Gustwalker and Eternal of Harsh Truths as the creatures most likely to kill my opponent, because Eternal hits them for 1, or they block it and it hits them for 2, and Gustwalker can jump in the sky. Strategic planning. Mill a Censor and a Seer of Last Tomorrow to draw something else. There's compulsory rest on the Eternal. Deemworthy on the Gustwalker. Yeah, I mean, the more times they shuffle their Gravian, the better their deck gets, because they have all the cards to pull the lands out of deck, so that their deck's almost all spells at this point after casting all the springs. Riverwinder looks very good in this matchup. If it can resolve here, they have like sensors and Supreme Wills and stuff. Did we see Supreme Will specifically or a bunch of sensors? If they have a Supreme Will, we can't pay for it, but we can pay for sensor. I guess I have 9 mana. It's probably better to just Vizier and Unearth a 5-drop then. Although they do have a mill 4 every turn, which is sketchy. God, if they have exactly Supreme Will, this is bad, but it's good against the sensor. We saw that they had like 3 sensors in their deck. Go for it. All right. Looks good. Still got 3 Embalmers in the deck for them to mill for us. But at this point, by the time they mill them, we'll probably be out of cards. 12 left. They mill 4 each time with the Rivulet. Riverbinder might just be exactly what we needed here. It's too big for their board wipe to kill it, and they can't use targeted removal. They cycle their own Riverwinder. That's gotta mean they're killing this somehow. GG from opponent? Is that the concession GG? It is? Okay. Surprising ending. I guess they didn't have the cards in hand to be able to, like, play the, Oh, shoot, I was trying to view the battlefield. I guess they didn't have cheap enough removal to, like, play Riverwinder to trade into ours and then also, like, play something to block the 1-3. So they had to cycle the Riverwinder and hope for the best. That was a crazy deck from our opponent. Really well built, really cool stuff you do not see too often, but our deck's got a lot of grind to it to still be able to compete there against a deck that has such incredible late game like theirs did. Yeah, that was a really well built, really cool controlling deck here, but our deck just has a bunch of on color rares and synergy and stuff, so we just took everything that said Embalm on it, so we can play the long game too. And we are 5-0 heading into game number 6. We did it, everybody. We're finally on the draw. Our opponent's on the play, cycling hieroglyphic illumination or a hieroglyphic illumination. However you say it. Got our turn 1 Sacred Cat, and we really need lands, so we're going to have to cycle this Oketra's Attendant. And I have no instance for 2, so I'm just going to do it right now. I could bluff an Essence Scatter. But by doing it right now, I'm technically playing around Nimble Obstructionist. They can cycle that to counter an activated ability. Okay. Eternal of Harsh Truths only does things when it attacks and blocks, so compulsing it is fine. Yeah, I would really rather they don't draw a bunch of extra cards throughout this game, so I'm just going to shut that off right now. Could have held up Farm, but then they'll have mana up during their turn to interact with it with some spell of their own. Oh! Well, that was really good for our opponent. And our draws are really bad for us. I swear to God, I'm on 17 lands. God, if I just compulsory and they bounce again, that's horrible. But then if I just farm and they Supreme Will, we're so doomed either way. They're deep into blue, and blue has lots of cheap interaction that can completely hose either path we try to take this. Show me a second Winds of Rebuke. Can't be Supreme Will here. Alright, there we go. That way played around Supreme Will because they didn't have 3 mana up yet. Where's the lands, though? This is how game 1 started. But we won game 1. I mean, we won every game today. But that was the most mana hosed we were, and we won it. Opponent might be a little screwed on mana too here. Mono blue still. I doubt they're full mono blue. But they could be. Blue is a really strong color in this format. I really don't want to play this till I play the trial, but if I never draw lands, I might have to. There's really no reason to put a Temid on this board, and compulsing a Sentinels isn't great. I guess it's fine. Yeah, we're kind of not doing anything else, are we? Riverwinder is a big issue. Hexproof is quite the ability. I can go land Cartouche Trial next turn. I could go land Vizier Cartouche. There's a lot of ways to do this. Land Vizier, Embalm the Sacred Cat also seems pretty good. If we go for the chump here. That's a lot of mana up. 8 mana up from the mono blue opponent. We have a lot of options here, and we're at 25 life, so we don't have to play things out super fast. What is our best way to play around a counter? Probably just like Gustwalker, Temmet, and Farm. Yeah, if they counter Temmet, I just embalm them from the grave. If they counter Gustwalker, eh. If they counter Cartouche, it's a little sad. I don't get the trial, but definitely not anywhere near as sad as if they counter Vizier. Okay, Supreme Will. Yeah, that would have gotten the Vizier, so we're pretty happy to get that out of the way, getting something else here. Okay. I hope they're mono blue. This would be insane if they're not at this point. They're more than halfway through their deck. Yeah, they must be at this point. Hello, Jace. I guess it's slightly better if they counter the Vizier than if they counter the Jace. Ooh, and they don't have the counter. Let's go. Wind Guide. Just go crazy with tokens here. Honestly, Attendant was probably better since we're already giving the token unblockable. I don't actually need Flying Vigilance here. I can give the one non-flyer unblockable every turn off Temmet's ability. Lay claim the Aven Wind Guide. They're at 8. Jace bounce, they block a 2-power creature, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we have exact lethal. I just kill the token here?
I'm always as high.
Yeah, they're just going to concede anyway. I mean, it's a Jace. It's a Jace. We are 6-0 now, undefeated as we head into that final battle. We have 3 rounds in the chamber, 3 shots at getting a full 7-win run with the maximum prize out of this draft. Right, here we are for that final battle, round 7. We are on the draw on this one. We get an early Temet, but Temet doesn't do too much till later in the game when you actually have tokens on board. Still not a terrible way to start things off, because if Temet trades off, we just eternalize them and go crazy. Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, that'll be like a little annoying, but we have Afflict and Unblockability and Flying. We got plenty of ways to get past this thing. Looks like the blue-white mirror match, except they've got green in there too. Binding Mummy's the play. Here is our Afflicty Eternal. Maybe it would have been better to play the Desert to guarantee a Trial of Knowledge turn 4. I could see that. Little aggro to just drop the Afflictor here. And they've compulsoried it anyway, so Trial of Knowledge certainly would have played better. Well, Desert to play the Trial would have certainly played better. But if we top deck the land, then it plays great either way. Cool. Get your bonus land. No attacks. I'm playing Attendant next turn. Plains Attendant. Starting to fly over for some damage while they sneak through with their sneaky snakes. Yep, slithered on in. 1 card in their hand and they are not a blue deck, so it's going to resolve. Question is if it stays on board or if it gets cast out or something. Sticks around for now. Who would win the race? 2 sneaky snakes or 1 bird soldier? 1 bird soldier. They're hitting for 2 a turn, we're hitting for 3 a turn. Okay. Need 3 to hold up the farm. So 3 to hold up farm, 2 to cycle the desert here, it looks like. I guess we should see what the desert gets us. Or land. Cycle a sensor, a little too late to counter something unless we pay 1. We've got a lot of mana. Another Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. They are not finding their deserts though, which is definitely helping us a lot. Their walls and their camel, both significantly worse right now, without the desert at their side. Nom 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 nom. We eat our Eternal for a delicious snack. Alright, we're chilling. Flooding a little bit here, but the farm to market should be huge. And they're going to let us do it. Take 4 on the crackback. I guess it's better to just not spend a card then. Oh, I have a desert engraved, so I can throw these out if I want to, but it's just 2 2s and 3 2s and stuff. And Emmet engrave is just a good thing here. They have no cards in hand? Sure, I'll cash in the farm as well if they've got nothing else. Lower them down to just the snakes. This should bring us real far ahead. Yeah, there's the concession from our opponent. That is a 7-0 run with an incredible blue-white and bomb deck. Super happy with how this draft went. Played it pretty safe and pretty open there during the draft. with that potential Glorybringer pivot, but we got past the fantastic Avenwind guide back towards blue-white. And again, with how pack 1 went, getting the Gust Walker so late and stuff, pretty confident this was just the correct archetype to be in by a lot. And we were absolutely rewarded for it with just an undefeated run off of a ridiculously good deck. Played against some really strong, really synergistic decks from our opponents, but this one just had some really big bomb potential while having like all of the blue-white Eternalized cards in one deck, which is pretty ridiculous. Honestly, Vizier of the Anointed was arguably the bombiest card in the deck, and it was an uncommon. Jace won most of our games, so I should be fair and say that Jace is the bombiest card in the deck, but I think that the amount of card draw and just Eternalized shenanigans the Vizier did for us, it actually played out even stronger than Temet did by a little bit. So if I had to rank the rares in terms of how powerful they were and how often we won off of them, it would be Jace number 1, followed by Vizier. Vizier and Temet very, very close. Pretty equivalent here. But Temet just right behind Vizier. And then Glory-bound Initiate in last place. That's just because our opponents had the cheap removal every time we resolved that. Does not mean it's a bad card. It is still very scary and very powerful. So yeah, super sweet, super fun deck, and an excellent way to hop back into the format. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.